Welcome back to Living Local. Many people 65 years and older live either with their spouse or by themselves in their own homes. There are ways aging adults can stay safely independent in their own homes as long as they choose, but it does require some planning. Here to tell us more about that is Naomi Ballard with GolderCare Solutions. Naomi, as always, thanks so much for being here.
Well, thank you.
So what does the term aging in place mean?
Well, it's defined as the ability to live in your home or community safely, comfortably, independently, regardless of your age, your ability, or your income level. But really it's saying, I'm going to stay home. I'm not going to go to a nursing home, or don't put me in an assisted living. And it's a valid concern. A lot of people have that wish. And most people, we hope, do reach that goal. Sometimes it doesn't work.
Right, and I know a lot of people in my own family who are kind of at that age where it's like, well, they do need some assistance, but they're not, you know, they can be independent, and it is possible to be able to stay at home, but there are a few major factors that people want to consider when they're making a plan to age in place. So what communication plans need to be set up?
Communication is huge. If you choose not to go to a facility, you're going to have to rely on other people, friends, family, advocates, to do some of that help communicating with them, because you're not going to have as many services. Facilities provide services, and if you're at home, you're going to need to rely on talking to people about your wishes and making sure that they can make some of those decisions for you, speaking up about what you need. It only happens successfully with relationships. You cannot age in place successfully unless you have some partnerships and people to communicate with to help you reach your goals.
That's such a great point. In addition, I know a lot of people, when they make these plans, they kind of have an idea in their mind of the way things are going to go, but obviously things in life just pop up unexpectedly. So how important it is to keep an open mind and be flexible?
Yeah, it's really easy to say, I'm going to stay home and nothing's going to change that, but it still requires some planning for those what-if moments, and they do creep up on you. You might think you're never going to need, say, any kind of in-home help, but it might creep up on you, and if you're at home by yourself, you might not realize it. So just being aware that you might need some help and having other people help you make those realizations. It's hard to be giving up some of that independence, but if you just learn to be a little more open-minded and open to some change, you're going to be more proactive about finding some services that can help you stay home longer.
And Naomi, a big part of those realizations includes being aware of your needs. Just taking a hard look, okay, this is what I do need. So why is it so important for people when they're making plans to age in place? Okay, I need to be aware of my own needs.
Most people that come to GolderCare, it's because they did not stay aware of their own needs, and it's too late, and they've found themselves in a nursing home or assisted living when they really did want to stay home, and they wish they would have done some more proactive planning. So it's better to educate yourself now, know what services you're going to need, start doing some shopping, and know what services you could employ, line up, or know what you're going to want long term, even if you don't need it now. Just educating yourself and becoming more aware of the services that are available to you.
Yeah, those are some fantastic factors to consider when you're making these plans. Now let's get into a little bit more detail. When someone is in their own home, there are so many different life factors that need to be considered. Let's start with nutrition.
We find when people are at home, their nutrition does go downhill. Either they lose their appetite because they're not staying as stimulated or active, or maybe they just don't have the motivation to cook their meals. That was the biggest sign with my grandparents when we realized this might not be working. Grandma forgot to cook and grandpa missed a meal, and then before you knew it, they were having dizzy spells because they missed a meal. And so knowing that there are services to help you, whether just don't be shy to ask. Maybe for someone to bring you some meals, or hire a meal prep service, or even learn how to use those grocery delivery. Most grocery stores now will deliver same day, even if you just want some peanut butter and some bread.
Right.
So just knowing that there's senior services like Meals on Wheels, and there's lots of options. So
right, that's a great consideration. What about mobility as well as transportation?
Well, getting around is the way to stay aging in place longer. If you don't use it, you lose it. That's one of my favorite sayings, because if you just sit and watch TV all day and don't get around, you're probably going to start going downhill faster. And so the more active you stay, the more healthy you're going to be. So making sure that your house is able to let you get around, keep everything on one level so you can still get to your laundry, your bathroom. Avoid those stairs where you might have a fall. Maybe as hard as it is, maybe you need a cane or a walker. And then as far as transportation, if you are not able to drive anymore, I know that's hard to give up that independence, but knowing that there's still ways to get around. We want people engaged in the community. We want people to go to clubs, or not, well, like club functions,
social clubs.
social clubs. Yes, we want people to be social. I mean, I guess whatever floats your boat.
Right.
But, you know, volunteer, get to the doctor, things like that. Because when you slow down, your body slows down. So be out there and find ways to get around. There are many services for transportation. You can private hire the Senior Express, or even in our public transportation, both sides of the river have paratransit that's ADA accessible. So you can get around, or if you're tech savvy, learn the Uber or the Lyft. So there's not an excuse at all that you can say that you have to just stay home and do nothing. We want people to be intentional about staying active.
Right, and you mentioned how important it is to stay social. And if you're at a place like GolderCare, that's kind of built in because you're around other people a lot of the time and you have different activities that you can go to. But if you're at your home, you don't necessarily have that structure. So how can people make sure that they're meeting their social needs if they're staying at home?
Yeah, we do encourage people to stay active, have a church group, have other social groups, find them even if it's out of their comfort zone. We're learning more actually about, there's something called Meetup. And so you can just meet people in your community for a walk. Just things like that that keep you stimulated. The more that you do those things, you're going to prevent memory loss. And making yourself a priority health-wise and exercise. There's so many benefits to just getting a little out of your comfort zone and staying active and connected with the community.
Definitely. Last one is help in the home. If someone's staying at home and they realize they just cannot do all the chores they need to do and they can't meet their own needs, what kind of exterior help can they call on?
We are blessed in the Quad Cities to have so many home help agencies where there's tons of resources out there. We can provide resources at GolderCare, but whether you start with just the snow removal and the lawn service or the gutter cleaning, but it's going to graduate. It's going to go into maybe some laundry services or meal preparation. But eventually, if you stay home long enough, you're going to need help with prescription help or bathing services, things like that. So the longer you're there, the more abilities you may need help with. So the biggest important thing is when you do employ those services, you want to go with a reputable company. Use contracts and nothing. We see a lot of people that pay under the table and we just see a lot of bad things happen. So if any biggest words of advice that I can give is when you do hire in-home help, and there's a lot of options and a lot of great help out there, just make sure you're going through a reputable company and doing it the right way.
That is some great advice there. Now, when we're talking about all these additional services that you might need if you stay at home, that can be associated with increased cost, but there are some resources available out there. What are some of those?
Yeah, one, a lot of people stay at home because it is expensive to go to a nursing home or an assisted living, so that's one reason they want to stay home. But yes, there are lots of increased costs if you want to stay home. Most of it's private pay, but as your needs increase, you can get veterans benefits. If your health needs are there, you can get Medicare to pay for it, even waiver services through the Medicaid program. GolderCare can be a great resource for that too. Just figuring out how to pay for it because it can definitely add up.
Yeah, and if some people are still needing some extra guidance on how to make a plan to age in place, how can GolderCare help?
Yeah, we used to be known more for that nursing home thing, but we do find that our advice about aging in place is becoming quite valuable. So we are doing our senior empowerment for September on aging in place, so we can provide some resources for that. And that is the first Wednesday of the month at our Bettendorf office, and that's at 10 a.m. and free and open to the public, or third Wednesday of the month at the Moline Public Library.
Great, Naomi. Thank you so much for the info. As always, we appreciate it. Guys, if you would like some more information, you can go to their website at goldercare.com. We'll also have these details posted on our quadcities.com. More Living Local returns after this.